All channels show live. Woo! Stream starting soon, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Actually, Geekbite, could you chat for a second? I want to test your audio too.
Good evening. How are you all? Hello.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you. All right. Okay, guys, about 2.5-ish minutes. Stream will start for shenanigans and fun and answering questions and seriousnesses and all that stuff. A while. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the official ROCKFISH Games stream. I'm your host, your guide, your servant, Eric Schrader, the community ambassador for ROCKFISH Games, here to tell you everything about EVERSPACE 2 related stuffs up into the 1.0 release. For those of you who are not in the know about our developmental process whatsoever, this is the space where we come together with you guys, the community. We have conversations, we answer questions, and we highlight stuff that's going on within our walls so that you know how things are going. It's a great little time. Also, there's some noteworthy changes that you can see just on this screen alone, okay? So, quick disclaimer. While we move into this home stretch of that 1.0 release, we are going to be playing in the dev builds, and there's going to be issues, and there's going to be teasers, and there's going to be a lot of fun stuff, and maybe some weird stuff along the way. So just know that what you see here is not 100% final. Most of you know that. It's just quick clarity, okay? Quick clarity. If you do see something that you haven't seen before, awesome, because you're going to. And if you don't, well, you know, that's okay too. But for the entire duration of these streams, you will be able to ask questions about basically any aspect of development. We are a very transparent development studio and are eager to assist you and make sure that your needs are being met, especially the expectations you have over our title. If we're not on the same page, it's not benefiting us, it's not benefiting you. So let's cut to the chase and answer those questions. So let's talk about the stream today. We are starting a brand new fresh save for the new year, for the brand new fresh new year. And we're gonna be maintaining the save as best we can up until the 1.0 release. Through this process, I may or may not have to cheat backwards a little bit based on what gets added as we move forward into the game experience. But rest assured, I'm gonna try and keep it as not dev cheated in as possible so that you can see exactly where the game is at, how it's meant to be received, and if it's the right game for you or not. So by all means, use this time, use this space to dive in, have a conversation, ask questions, and generally just have a good time. All right, so without further ado, we're clicking on this button right here, nothing else, no other buttons to look at on this scene whatsoever, and starting into a brand new save. We are not skipping cutscenes for very important reasons as well.
Approaching extraction area. All miners stay in formation. Wingman, you take up the rear.
Understood.
Brings back memories, doesn't it?
Scrap! What's wrong?
Boosts are jammed. Could use a push.
Hey Ben, we've got a clunker back here.
Got it. Let's meet near his ship.
What's
All
going
right.
on with it?
Just a laggy jump drive. There you go. Good as my granny's creaky old knee.
Thanks, Ben.
I'm nearly out of nanobots. Say, how's your ship holding up?
Just the usual wear and tear. Don't tell me you want to run another mobility check.
Can't risk you breaking down in the middle of a fight, can I?
All right, knock yourself out.
First, show me 2 healthy strafes. Left and right.
There. And there.
What about your hover thrusts?
Man, I can so hear your smile.
Isn't it nice to have someone who cares for a change? Now some rolls.
1, 2.
Finally, I need one last strafe with a boost to the right. As slinky rocket dodges go, I'd give you a 4 out of 9. Yeah, you're in good enough shape for the junk pile you're floating.
Try telling that to Callahan. I bet 10 creds that if we don't catch up, he'll threaten to remove this ship from our tally.
Nah, he's a jerk, but not that bad. I'll take that bet.
Let's not keep him waiting then. Just 8 more shifts. Have you finally picked a homeworld?
Yep, Eden 12 it is. Ridiculous name, but just can't say no to those terraformed lakes.
I can't imagine what it'd be like to finally be out.
It'll be plasma gin and sunsets, my friend. After the slog we've been through, it's the least we deserve.
Well, if it isn't our 2 slackers. 5 seconds longer and I would have removed this shift from your tally.
What's the situation?
There's a Hydra infestation clogging up the entrance. And since you're the one that gets paid for handling these things, I thought I'd be so kind as to let you earn your creds.
I'm on it.
All right.
Still jammed? Nice.
Wingman, you go in first and secure a path to the core. The engineer will follow with some distance in case anything needs fixing.
All right, so as we move into this tutorial state, which I would just like to mention, yes, you can totally skip this, by the way. I also feel it just appropriate to go over some of the settings that I have adjusted the game for. so you guys just are simply aware. You may or may not see a couple of extras here and whatnot. I play with the motion blur turned off, okay? Chromatic aberration and lens flares do stay on for me. I know my body's kind of blocking that. I'm also playing on epic settings with SSGI on, DLSS AI upscaler, and DLSS quality mode on quality. I am running in DirectX 11. For me personally and my specific machine, I have had much greater success with DirectX 11. We are making sure the game will be optimized for DirectX 12 as well. So anybody who's out there running it there and has had problems, which we've had a couple of those reports, thank you for supplying them, by the way. We are working to find solutions. Just know that right now, HDR, for example, is in an experimental state, but we are trying our best to rectify as much as we can. We can't make guarantees it's gonna be perfect, okay? But do know that our focal point is to increase the optimization for DirectX 12. Last but not least, there's some new stuff over here, but we're not gonna trigger that quite yet. I have VSync on. I have a cap at 30 frames per second for streaming purposes, blah, 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 this, that, the other thing. Audio, you don't need too much information about. I also have a couple of things here to look at as well. I'm gonna boost the difficulty up to very hard. This can only be changed after you start a new save, or after you start a save in general, which is why we hadn't triggered it until just now. There's this. Not mentioning too much, but you can see that there's been a number of little details supplied, and we'll go over more of this once we're ready to kind of talk through these new additions and details. I also don't like damage numbers and XP numbers on the screen. I think it's going to be a little bit cleaner for you guys to understand what's going on as well, and seeing the ships in particular. And I also hide key bindings and HUDs and cockpits just to have that more immersive feeling. Last but not least, I have the mouse dead zone shown in the middle of the screen, that little circle around. So that way you can tell when my mouse cursor goes into that my ship stops. We've had a number of individuals, a number of users who don't like when your mouse is on the right side, you just keep spinning, right? By showing the dead zone, it helps me know where I can point so it stops moving. We also have the HUD center indicator. It's just the middle point. Horizon indicator, which gives you sort of a planar understanding of the territory. Yes, it's space, there's technically no up, but as a video game, as orientation is important for you and your human brains, that's why we've included that. Last but not least, I do have tooltips show and camera shakes on important only. That's about as much as I'm gonna cover for now. Hopefully that gives you guys a strong sense of how the setup is and why we're seeing things in the way they are. Let's continue through the tutorial.
How much distance?
Enough to make a U-turn, should he run into trouble. The rest will wait outside with me until I give the signal.
All right, I'm going in. Looks like the last shift never left.
Loot.
Lots of dead outlaws and miners in here.
Yeah, and since the Hydras had time to spread but haven't devoured them yet, I'd say they killed each other less than 48 hours ago.
Scrap.
Might want to consider that U-turn. Some of the outlaws may still be alive.
Forget Callahan. I can take care of myself.
Story.
The entrance to the core is blown.
Try using your missiles. Whoever sent that might still be in there.
We'll see. Wait here until I've had a look inside.
Please be careful.
All right, we're gonna search this core a little bit, and I can tell that you guys are asking some questions, making some observations. As a reminder, for the questions and whatnot, there will be key moments during the course of the stream that we will consolidate those and answer them in sort of a rapid fire format. That way we can ensure nobody's getting missed and everyone's getting an appropriate response.
Finally, my rescue squad.
I have no idea who you are.
Hey, you're G&B scum. This'll take care of you.
Sorry, pal, but there are no rescue squads out here. Everyone, the risk meter just went way up. There were outlaws here, and maybe more are on their way.
So what? We've still got an armed patrol outside.
They could be here any minute.
All the more reason to work fast. Let's do this, people. Those crystals won't mind themselves.
And that outlaw was from Bloodstar, not just some low-level grunt. He even had a custom-built coil gun.
I'll keep an eye on the main shaft.
And I'm gonna hold on to the coil gun. Let's hope we won't need it.
All right, let's go in and equip our coil gun.
Keep an eye on the miners. I don't want any crystals to end up in the wrong pockets.
Just nice, easy features to loop in new players.
What's with the shaking?
Could be the Bloodstar guys' rescue squad. And if they spotted our escort outside, they won't just come in with medics.
Son of a lizard.
All right, want everyone to stay calm and clear of the walls. I got this. Time to earn my creds.
Chief, you here? Scrap, more miners. They got here first.
Don't worry. More ransom booty to line our pockets. Let's reel them in.
Keep moving, everyone. I'll lock onto them and let my missiles do the rest. One left. That's it. Everyone all right?
We're okay.
Pal, take my last nanobots. You'll need them. My sensors are lighting up. There's more of them coming down the main shaft.
Let's take the fast lane and bust through that drill.
Excellent.
Hey man, you go first. That patrol better be doing their job out there.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to EVERSPACE 2.
They're slaughtering the escort.
God damn it.
You all try to slip past. I'll keep them busy.
So, one of the things to point out, just to start things off with this new save, we are still going through and we're polishing a lot of the missions, a lot of textures, a lot of drop rates and itemization pools, stuff like that. And the tutorial is something that we haven't revisited too much.
You'll fix it. See you back in May.
We are waiting to do a bit of an overhaul to the tutorial. I shouldn't say overhaul, but we're gonna add more to the tutorial after a lot of the mainline polish is complete. That way we don't have to revisit the tutorial multiple times. But you will see a couple of other little details within the tutorial, hopefully, that help clarify just a couple additional little elements. Nothing major, just to help, again, loop in new players, especially to like the level progression system. And yeah. Also ensuring that there isn't a huge jump from going from the tutorial into the real game, so that you're not, you don't have a feeling of it being this easy, this casual for everything showing up later.
Use the extinguisher, reduce oxygen. You got this.
I got this. I got this.
Let me show you an example of what I mean by that. So this is an Outlaw Destroyer. A lot of you guys know what this is. This is not an enemy that you'll see until a bit later in the game. Just a couple tweaks later, just to make it fit a little bit more thematically, and also, again, to help that onboarding. Just tightening it up a little bit. Alright, let's go see if we can help out Ben.
Ben, I'm coming. Ben, are you okay?
Alright.
What the hell was that? All systems are down.
Move. Inside.
Damn it!
You're wasting your energy. We're locked in by a force field. Just sit tight and make the best of it.
Looks like they threw you quite a welcome party.
I've been here for quite a while already. Just a regular checkup on what I might know. Where did they grab you? Your outfit looks like GMB work crew.
You guessed it.
These jerks here got no style. Bunch of amateurs. They'll be looking to get the best price for you.
So given your professional opinion, you know a lot about outlaws.
Hell, I know a lot more than they'll ever get from me. You hear me? If it ain't gas mask, so where's your boss?
Things have changed, Bashar. And because your cellmate here killed the chief, I am now in command.
Did he now?
And for your insults, I will make certain you suffer like never before.
Where's my friend, Corbin Grendel?
He's in the med bay, for now. Maybe he'll live long enough to fetch ransom. Your DNA scans show that you're a military clone pilot. No wonder you bettered my predecessor. I wonder what your face value is. What if I broadcast your profile?
That would be a bad idea. You may not like who will come looking for me.
Why would I heed advice from a clone? I know my business.
Interesting.
Station is under attack! And the turrets!
Friends of yours?
Yeah, the kind who want me dead.
Power outage. The force field is down. This is our chance. Let's try to pry the door open. Help me. Grab the door. Pull. Let's get the hell out of here while they're distracted. This way to the hangar.
Wait, I'm not leaving without my friend.
Don't be an idiot. He's a dead man. Okay, get your friend, but hurry.
Hey, Ben.
Huh? What's happening?
It's our chance to get out of here. Come on.
Forget it, man. I'm done for.
I told you I'm getting you out of here.
Over here.
Thanks for waiting.
My pleasure. I might have more luck with a clone pilot at my side.
Watch out. You may call this a warning shot. Attackers are advised to disengage at once.
Great. Stuck between a rock and a damn flaming meteor. It's a colonial fleet. We better stick together if we want to make it out of this alive.
Get ready to jump.
No dice. Drives are jammed.
There's a jump suppressor down there.
All right.
You know how to handle a cannon.
This isn't my first dance, you know.
Right. The military clone thing. Shooting scrap is in your genes.
And now we are in the game.
It's down. Jumping is still suppressed. My sensors detect 2 more. Let's find them and get out. Just stay out of view of that cruiser.
Ben, you okay back there?
I don't know, man. Not feeling so good.
Getting us out of here, I promise.
Whew. Welcome everybody who's just sneaking in.
2 down.
We've started a new save for the new year.
Get it. The fleet has no jurisdiction here.
This is our last warning. Scans are being initiated on all units. Harboring a military clone is a violation against the peace treaty. Hand him over. We will find him either way.
It's you they're after?
I told the gas mask not to broadcast my profile. Let's finish this and get the hell out.
You can't destroy a suppressor. Fly close and hack in. That's the way to go.
I know.
Excellent.
We've identified you, Mr. Roslin. I'd suggest you submit your sentinel without struggle.
Hold on. You okay, Ben? Damn, he passed out.
They're tracking us. You need to disconnect your nav, now!
Can't fly blind.
Do it!
Okay, display's wiped. Now what?
I'll give you some cords. 1 sec. There. See that sweet shiny marker? That's our way out. I've seen clones fight before, but damn! Not your first dance. You're a goddamn prima ballerina. What's your name, pal?
It's Adam. And that's Ben in the back. He really needs a medic.
The only medics out here work for GMB, and that's not where you want to be right now. Not with a fleet warrant on your head.
Man, we were 1 foot out of the DMZ.
Don't tell me you had one of those GMB pension plans.
It's called a Lionel Grady retirement scheme.
Well, it's still a plan, and plans are for fools, my friend. I'm Dax, by the way. Let's get your friend into stasis at my old hideout. That'll give you some time to figure out how to save his life.
Guess it's the only choice I have.
All right. So now things are going to slow down a little bit. We're going to have a little less talking soon so that I can chat more with you guys. But I am very intentionally letting the conversations within the game take precedence over my own, especially for those of you who are new and those who are keeping your eyes and ears peeled for any updates that may have snuck in.
Hey, buddy, we're here. Oh, man, you look bad. Ben's not responding. We need to do something now.
There's a med bay, but we need to get to the control room first.
So this is your hideout. This place looks huge.
An old military post, founded decommissioned after the war. I laid low here for a few years after the DMZ was established. Here we are. Yeah, worse than I thought. Problem with the main reactor. It'll only hold us on basic for a while.
How about the med bay?
The cryopod can run on backup power, but no chance of getting the medical facilities running. All we can do for now is put your friend in deep freeze until we can get the reactor back up.
I want to get him in there as soon as possible.
All right.
Let's take it slowly.
In order to fix the main reactor, we'll need parts.
I can help you with that.
Good. I'll give you a shopping list then.
You know, this place ain't so bad.
We just used it to lay low for a while, really. But I guess you could say we had some good times here.
So you weren't alone.
Here's the cryo. Yeah, looks like it's working all right.
Sweet dreams, buddy.
Well, that's done. Now let's get the reactor running.
I feel like you're not telling me something about this place. What were you hiding from? What happened to your colleagues?
Yeah, I knew you'd start asking questions if I brought you here. Look, I took a gamble on you. Why don't you take a gamble on me now? Trust a little. I'll stay on comms and fill you in on what you need to know. A lot of stuff needs fixing, but we're still good on resources to patch up our ships or refill our ammo should things go south. There's also some space in the storage unit, so feel free to dump your cargo whenever it's getting cramped in that Sentinel. Here's a list of what we need to fix the reactor.
Scrap metal, a cooling unit. All pretty straightforward.
The cooling unit could be a problem. Check out that nearby debris field. That's your best shot at finding one. By the way, I took the liberty of installing 2 devices into your ship. An EMP generator and an energized boost.
Not sure how I feel about you messing around inside my ship.
Yeah, well, let me know how you feel once one of my goodies saves your life.
All right. Devices. You've acquired your first device. I'm not gonna read through this stuff. It just means we have things that are used to do other things that can be upgraded over time once you acquire those on level ups. They can go up to level 5 to be greater variants of themselves and also unlock new modes for specialty uses. Okay, guys, we have been watching a lot of the opening sequence of EVERSPACE 2. Whether you are familiar with the EVERSPACE 1 story or not is irrelevant at this point. You can jump right in whether you've played the prior game or not. If you have played the prior game, you will have been looped in probably within seconds, knowing the added details thereof. So it doesn't matter if you are a veteran of the first or if you're newly coming in to our franchise, either option works swimmingly. We have ensured that the story does bring that into the fold for you accordingly. So since we've been watching a little bit, I've been seeing a number of questions being poured out. Let's go ahead and bring Geekbite into the mic. He's gonna shoot those questions you guys have been sending towards us, and we're gonna provide that clarity and feedback.
Hello, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Hope you're all tickety-boo. Right, we've got a few for you, Eric. A few to challenge you.
Ooh, good. I love it.
Right, first up is Flory over on Twitch. He's asking, will there be a difficulty level over very hard, like hell or something, since very hard is a lunacy 200 equivalent, if he remembers correctly?
Sure. I mean, as of right now, all of the difficulty settings are, it's kind of a testing ground for where we want to throw everything into the game. So even everything you see here, it's not even guaranteed they will remain. It's possible these could get changed or even their names get changed. We will have more information on how the difficulty is going to be adjusted in the future if it gets revamped excessively. But we do want there to be clarity on the difficulty system. Like, what's the difference between very hard and hard, for example? It gives you no information, and internally we're not a fan of that. Like, you'll even have seen that in EVERSPACE 1 if you played that game, where when you choose a difficulty, it tells you those subtle nuances and the big improvements or challenges of what you'll experience just based on what you choose. And we want to go into that for EVERSPACE 2 as well. So here's hoping we can set that up and have that ready for that 1.0 release. So good question, but I gave you a non-answer because it's possible, and it's also, we could remove some of the difficulties. It's hard to say.
Yeah, cool, great. Right, Diamond321 on Twitch wants to know, well, a bit of praise for us really to start with. Thanks guys for working on the game. I really like it. It reminds me of the old Freelancer game.
Yeah.
And a bit of a request, but it's something that I think we just need to clarify for maybe new people to the franchise. Please add multiplayer option before launch.
Yeah. Oh man, no, multiplayer would be seriously amazing. But no, as our vision has moved into this space, we wanted it to be a single player game, and that's where we started from, and that's where we are going to finish it at. Going into a multiplayer setting is a heck of a lot of additional work and features and optimizations, and we don't even need to get started on, networking situation and servers, and it's a hassle that we did not want to approach for EVERSPACE 2. So it is single player only, just like EVERSPACE 1. But you never know what could be in the future for our EVERSPACE franchise. So yeah, but for EVERSPACE 2, single player only, and very much intentionally designed that way. So.
Right. A Question from Will Change My Name Later on Twitch. Do you have plans to add Intel's XS upscaler? I'm sure they'll be delighted with the integration, and we have had a response from the boss man, Michael himself.
Okay, yeah.
Who said that we might add it at some point. No promises, though. We've still got a ton on our list.
Yep, that's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah, because we received that question from another user a couple weeks ago. Maybe it was the end of last year, and yeah, we kind of like shot that around internally. It was like, what does this look like? And just exactly as Michael says, it would be cool, but you know, it's one of those things where we'd have to look more into it if it's feasible for our launch, and we can't guarantee that at this time. So our launch, by the way, just to give you some perspective on that, is the first half of this year. So that's soon. That's soon. So something of this nature would require several months of testing to ensure that it's not going to wonky up everything else. And we need that time to add content, to polish, to fill out the game for our 1.0 release. It's a good question, though. Good question.
Excellent. Right, a bit of a technical one, and I don't know if we're going to need to throw this over to the team.
It's all good.
But random video over on YouTube is asking, can you share any infos about your 3D AI navigation system? Is it a custom solution, or are you relying on third-party plugins, and how did you guys approach this?
So it is to my understanding that we do use, it's a mixture of both. There's a little bit of custom, and there's also a couple of third parties in there. Now, I am not one of the technical directors or developers or anything of that nature, so I would have to defer to a team member who's deep into that level of detail. All I can do is speak from a level of knowing that there's a lot of complexities through that, and I'm glad I don't have to deal with them personally. But otherwise, yeah, there's a little bit of both. So there's a little bit of both. I don't know the full details of explaining how that works or why. If you want to know more, I do encourage you to join like the Discord, the ROCKFISH Discord. You can go there, discord.gg/ROCKFISHgames, and you can ask in our Ask RFG channel, which I would be delighted to follow up with you on for more information if I can get it from a team member. So.
Excellent, excellent. Right, another one over from YouTube. Species1571 is asking, will all those work in progress screens be full motion, or will the time-lapse transitions be permanent? I think it's the animation style that they're talking about in the cutscenes.
The full motion cutscenes be... Okay, read the question one more time. I want to make sure I understand the question. One more time, please.
Okay. Will all those work in progress screens, obviously we've got the work in progress at the top, be full motion, or will the time-lapse transitions be permanent? I think it's the animation style, wondering if it's going to be full motion or stay as it is.
Yeah, so we have in-game cutscenes, of course, which we've been revamping. If you've seen the previous ones to the new one, you'll know that there's been a lot of refinement on that front. In regards to the storyboard cutscenes, if you will, we have taken great care in the theming of those and the stylization, and are very happy with those results, and those are not changing. They are going to remain as they are. It's not going to be replaced by in-game assets or in-game cutscenes in that nature. I think that answers the question.
Yeah, I know Michael had chimed in a little bit earlier regarding it as well.
Okay, perfect.
About the cutscenes as well, saying that they're near enough done as is, because people were liking the style of them. So,
and I should loop you guys in, just in case for those of you who are new. Since it's a new year, I'm expecting new users. We keep referring to this Michael guy, right? Who is he? He's Michael RFG. He's been responding to some folks over on Twitch. Guys, this is the CEO of ROCKFISH Games. I don't know how many dev streams you've been to where the CEO was active and was directly communicating and answering questions for you all, but just a big shout out to Michael, who's the one who's basically established ROCKFISH Games and the EVERSPACE franchise. So if you do have questions, and if you're shooting them rapid fire and he responds to you, that's from the top, okay? And that's gold. It's solid, locked in place. I can't even challenge whatever he responds with. So thank you, Michael, for being here and being a classy boss. All right, next question, please, Geekbite.
Next question. Actually, it's just a follow-up. Actually, Michael did with regards the multiplayer. He put RE multiplayer. Changing the direction of the game plus adding netcode even for simple co-op would mean rewriting all game code from scratch, delaying the full release by 2 years, thus adding several $million euros to our dev budget, which we don't have.
Yeah, I remember when we had a conversation, Michael and I had a conversation about like what multiplayer looks like from a back end, because I didn't really have that understanding at the time of, what was it, 3 years ago, Michael? Something like that. And when he laid it on me, it was just like, holy crap. As a gamer, I mean, obviously we want to like embrace our games and have all the features that we want. It's like, I want this, like, I need a game like this in multiplayer. Like this would be perfect for it. Well, maybe, yes, that would be hella fun. That's just not our vision. And we very much appreciate you guys understanding why we've taken the dive and the push and not changed our vision for EVERSPACE 2 or even EVERSPACE 1 for that matter. Because if we were to alter that and content creep would get in the way, you guys would be waiting around for your game to come out for a really long time that had netted a lot of money and hasn't satisfied all its promises yet. You probably see where I'm going with that. Woo! All right. Anyway, next question. Any more questions? Any more questions?
I've got 2 more just sneaking in.
Perfect. Let's
one 7 Indo on Twitch is asking, will the cockpit be more customizable for first-person view visual purposes or gameplay efficiency, because they feel that it needs more visibility since the commands are taking too much space on the screen?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think that's a really good question. I think we do have plans to create further customization within the game. So that'll be something that we'll just need to address through the development period and show you if that's something that we are going to pursue. I will say that we did have some vlogs on the matter of EVERSPACE 2 way back during the Kickstarter period, and you can actually see some very block out different cockpit styles. And I don't want you guys to get like the expectations that this will happen, okay? Those vlogs and the content thereof was a lot of elements that we desired to have, but unfortunately, there's not ever a guarantee on those things. It's just a projection of ideas to see how we can bring it all together. We are incredibly satisfied with the focal points that we have made to push more prominent features into the game space, ones that have a lasting matter, and incorporating entirely new ones that were far more important than how your cockpit is adjusted if you're playing in first person mode, which is not the largest percentage of our player base. So, is it possible? Yes. Will it happen? This isn't a full guarantee. This isn't a full guarantee, but it would be pretty stinking cool if we can bring that into the fold. All right, what's that last question that was brought in? You said you had one more?
Right, the last one was, and actually Michael's answered it as well in the chat, it's from Will Change My Name Later on Twitch.
Okay.
Will ray tracing be coming to EVERSPACE 2? And the answer from Michael was nope. Ray tracing doesn't add much to an open space game, while Baked, GI, and SSGI do a fantastic job while costing much less performance.
Yep, that is, you heard it from the horse's head. There you go, folks. All right. So I'm just gonna tweaking a little bit of my ship before we go out flying once again. I'm gonna change my lights to yellow. I don't have a lot of decals yet because I have to unlock them first. So we'll just go ahead and keep things the way they are here. I like this. So let's get back into the game. Guys, if you have more questions, by all means, dive on in and ask away. Michael is answering them and Geekbyte is cataloging them for our next big old answering of questions. Otherwise, we are gonna cruise through this game from the beginning. And here we need to start collecting some crafting goods. Fix up this generator.
I reckon G&B didn't know you were a clone.
No, just 8 more shifts and they would have paid me a ticket to Eden 12.
Eden 12, huh? That's one ridiculous name.
Woo! Ooh, cargo unit. That feels
They
good.
have lakes there?
Yes, thank you. I have unlocked the crafting with a cargo unit, but let's continue hearing this little exchange between Adam and Dax.
Cool. I dig lakes. When I was a kid, my old man used to take me kayaking almost every day. That was on Byron 4, just before the whole place went to hell.
What's kayaking?
You serious? Scrap, got a visitor.
Leave him to me.
Maybe a good time to pop that gift bag and try one of your new devices. In the meantime, I'll lock the front door, just in case.
Excellent. Super gel. Nice. All right, we're gonna pick up a little bit more of this scrap metal. Deal with this opponent. Little instruction on damage is popping up here as well. I think that this is a really good time to mention that anytime you have tooltips that pop up and you like read through them, or maybe you don't, and you're like, oh crap, I meant to read that. Well, we are actually adjusting that. So don't get super crazy excited, but I just do want to show this very briefly. Just simply, okay, all right? We're not taking a whole deep dive into all the new stuff that could potentially be seen today, but just know that this exists. Know that this does exist. Just a little bit of future-proofing and helping bring in new players. All right. So we're gonna keep grabbing some more gears. Take this guy, oh, level 2? Oh gosh, ain't messing around. There we go.
There, alone again. He must have detected us when we reactivated the hangar.
So about kayaking.
Kayaking. Best thing ever. Say, they never told us soldier grunts how you clones worked. But I heard they gave you guys fake memory fragments to keep you motivated while fighting. If kayaking isn't in there, someone clearly didn't do their job.
My memories are fragmented, but not fake. They're a mix of random experiences taken from my clone father's life and every incarnation that came before me.
EVERSPACE 1 spoilers, geez.
All passed on from clone to clone, until they ended up with me.
Holy! So you're some kind of body-hopping immortal soul.
Well, not anymore. The cycle was broken. So this time when I die, I'm done.
You know what I would do if I were you?
No, what?
Not croak before I've been kayaking. I really mean it.
If I ever get the chance, I will.
Man, just seriously, if you guys haven't been kayaking though, it's wonderful.
Make sure that the area is cleared before you head back. Don't want anyone to kiss and tell about this base.
All right, we're gonna gather a little bit more of this Aethium crystal because it's satisfying. Honestly, that's the only reason. We had enough. But now we are going to boost in.
Hey, Knockroach was right. We've got new neighbors. Let's give them the tour.
Excellent. Gosh, it's nice having devices. Wonderful.
There's quite a lot of traffic around here.
Yeah, something must have happened to our cloaking system. Any luck with those resources yet?
Checked off everything on the list.
Great. Now bring the parts so we can give that reactor a whirl.
So, while I'm doing this brand new save, there may be moments where I kind of highlight secret areas a little bit. I'm gonna try not to do this too much. So, if you guys know where secrets are and I like bypass them, it's because I want you to have the satisfaction of finding them too. Because this area is relatively easy to explore, I'm grabbing these. And also ignore the fact that I didn't get all those Aethium crystals. Hopefully that doesn't bother somebody with ADHD. We're gonna go back around because I want one more item before we return to home base. It's right over here. There we are. Plug that in, boom. And we got a little location completion thing as well as the information regarding mainframe components. Oh my gosh, all this information on things that are happening. Again, isn't it nice to have a codex that tells you information if you accidentally bypassed it or if you just wanted to revisit it? All right, now let's dive back into the home base, get some more story, keep on keeping on. Actually, we're skipping this one.
What happened there? Not answering me. No time for a nap, pal.
Just,
Blacked out.
no. Or,
A clone? If it happens again, For now, let's focus on our current needs. And the base.
All right. So now that we've got all of our elements back into the home base, we are going to start fixing up our reactor. We are going into our perks. This is just a quick tutorial on it. As you can see, right on cue, popping up, giving us all the sweet details. And investing those resources that we just collected outside in order to gain a benefit. In this case, it's story progression. Like, it's right now, the content of the story has been gated until you do this so that you learn how it works. Done and done.
Ha! It worked. Never thought I'd miss this shabby place. Those Bloodstar idiots had me locked up for ages.
what do they want from you?
Well, what they want from everyone. Credits and information. Unfortunately for them, I don't share with outlaws. Anyway, this is where we're at right now. We've got lights, climate control, and access to scans of our vicinity.
Can the scans help me navigate Superlight again? I can't fly blind forever.
Good idea. We can't reconnect our navs, or the fleet would immediately locate our asses. But with these scans... Here, have a look.
Cedo Outer Rim, Rhodia Orbit, and Union Bridge? That's as far as we can scan?
It's far enough for now, at least what we need to do next. I need you to fly to all 3 locations, and keep an eye out for little devices we like to call beanies.
Beanies?
That's short for beanbags. They're small DIY signal distractors, and used to keep this base off enemy radars. But obviously they don't anymore.
Sounds like a job for Ben. You need an engineer on this, not me. Why don't we focus on getting him fixed first?
No time. We're lit like a bonfire. If we don't figure out what's wrong with the distractors now, we won't live long enough to save Ben. Tend to the beanies and make us vanish. That'll give us time to figure out what to do with your friend.
Excellent, excellent. So as you can clearly see, there's more added into our game experience. Not only on the front of, oh, we polished some assets and we changed the camera angle a little bit, but there's authentically new content that will be in place by the 1.0 release. Now, when we see some of the more story-centric stuff like that in our new playthrough here, guys, I am going to very intentionally skip it, okay? This is content that is meant to be digested from you all at a later point when we're ready, okay? So keep that in mind. Otherwise, there will be other little features and other little details that we'll happily explore to our fine merriment in the streams, and I will be delighted to help answer questions all over those particular things. If you're gonna dive into the chat though and be like, wait a second, what was that cutscene? I want more information. What's the story gonna be? I ain't gonna answer that. It ain't gonna happen. So your patience is appreciated, and thanks for understanding that this is the process of a development stream and engaging with you guys. It's good stuff. All right. Now, all of that out of the way, we have to reactivate these beanies so that we can not be lit like a bonfire, as the hangar seems to have, I mean, everyone can see it. We don't want people to know where we're based up. That would be problematic now, wouldn't it? Let's also go ahead and put some nanobots in. And yeah, that's about it. That's about it. We could put some liquor and some medicine in our storage. Why not? You never know when you need some either of those things. And yeah, crafting seems to start opening up as well with our new components. Very, very good. Also, the perks have expanded even further. When we were learning about how to engage with the perks, you'll now see that there are a bountiful amount of opportunities to give you passive effects over the course of the game. All that's required are these upgrade requirements, and you can see in this progressive order from the top to the bottom what investing in that particular perk will accomplish. For right now, all of these are being tracked. I'm just gonna keep them that way, but if you didn't want them to be tracked, you can just turn them off, be like, I don't care about tractor beams. Nobody would do that, by the way. Tractor beams are an invaluable tool. And yeah, The benefit of tracking it, it means anytime there's an item that's dropped, like any credits, any iron, aethium crystals, or power cells, all of the needs down here, they will also be highlighted green in the game space. So you know you need this for a thing. If there are multiple things, multiple perks that item is required for, it will list them on the item itself. Hopefully I'll be able to show that to you soon. All right, let's get out here and start enabling some beanbags. I'll start with Rodeo Orbit. Everyone's good in the chat, right? I'm looking over at YouTube just to make sure you're all healthy. Everything's fine. Make sure we're nice and snug in here. Remember, we're all a bunch of dorks wanting to have information on EVERSPACE 2 and ask questions and have a good time. That's why I'm here. Excuse me. All right, we're only level 1. We're starting to run into a few level 2s. Could take some damage here. We just need to be careful about it. Oh man, our shields almost went down. We're okay. Go ahead and recharge there, buddy. That would be appreciated. So for those of you who have missed a number of updates and details surrounding EVERSPACE 2, now is a really good time to mention about the level scaling adjustments that we have made to the game. The big thing is that we don't have scaling so much anymore, as we have permanent levels associated with various environments and regions. What this means is that when you are navigating the space that is your home turf, for example, these sites have a hidden level that's associated with them, and enemies will generate very close to that, regardless of your level, okay? That means that if you're not doing your due diligence and leveling up and taking care of your ship and your equipment, that you fly into a heavy-handed location like a level 9 too early, you're gonna know it. You're gonna need to leave, go somewhere else, do some exploration before you can come back to that. Now, there are also a slew of opportunities that help increase your level should you go outside the main story and other accomplishments like that. But just know that everything no longer scales to the level of the location and the player. Now it has a static level associated with it, with key moments and very specific situations that will invoke some form of scaling for balancing purposes. All right, let's pick up the goods here. We got, ooh, okay, we're getting some nice stuff right out of the gate. Man, I do like my pulse laser, and this is an energy-heavy device. Oh man, we're already starting to get into decision-making processes. We haven't even leveled up. What is this nonsense? All right. I want to get a device before we leave this territory. Otherwise, then we're going to kind of fast-track the Sentinel Distractor so we can move along that story. Oh, we do not want to get hit by these missiles. That would be problematic. Woo! All right, we're going to take a little bit of cover because we just don't have the speed to outmaneuver these guys. Ooh! Ooh! All right, okay. I see you, game. Let's do that again. Let's do that again. This is why you need to use your consumables and your secondaries. The save system, the way that it operates, has a twofold saving system. The first one is upon entering a new area, and the second one is at specific mission-generated moments. A mission-generated moment could be a side mission that you're doing, a job. It could be an integral story-centric mission. A number of ways that the game will then autosave so that you don't have to backtrack too far. But death is a permanent effect in the game for story-centric purposes. So, in order to overcome that, you do have to try again in that sense. Much like you would find in, other traditional, video games in general. That's just how kind of it operates. So, let's go ahead and approach this situation in a little bit of a different way. This time, I know those missiles were a problem, but those proto scouts, both of those level 2s, seem to be even more of a trick for us. So we're gonna navigate around and address them first. We might even stay right here so the missiles are completely blocked. Hello, missiles. All right. Maybe our new tactic isn't enough. Oh my gosh!
Use some nanobots to try to make it to a nearby station. They'll patch you up there.
Let's get a little more space. All right. Isolated. This shouldn't be too bad, right? All right. Obstacle 1 addressed. I really want this device, so I'm gonna be stubborn and I'm gonna attack. Yes, it's only a level higher than me, I know. Am I playing poorly? I don't know, maybe. Does this showcase how we've been adjusting and dealing with a little bit more of the leveling? Absolutely! At least I hope so. All right, now we got some enemies on us. This is gonna be a little disastrous if we're not careful. I want this temporal nano recalibrator, and I also want to just pound away, turning off our initial dampeners to just really get the benefit of flying out of there so we can start addressing the story-centric missions. Woo, we could use some armor.
Found one of your beanies. Looks like an asteroid bumped off half of its antennas.
Maybe we're lucky and they got caught up somewhere.
All right, here we go.
Try running a holo scan to simulate the crash.
And what do you think I just did?
Smart man.
There's one.
If the joints are up for it, you don't have to be a Quark mechanic to reattach them.
First part fits.
Wonderful. Come on over for the second piece. It's a nice little introduction here on how you can use your ship to grapple items and move them around. This is a fun little feature throughout the entire game, actually. Depending on which ship you're using, certain ships will allow you to grab drones, the Striker, for example.
First beanie's back online.
Excellent. For a proper disappearing act, we need 2 more.
And it can come in a pinch to navigate certain spaces a little bit more gently. Like you can hold asteroid in front of yourself to block incoming fire and other little things like that. I'm gonna go ahead and get this secret because I don't think there's a turret in here. All right, good. Let's get this shipwreck. Another mainframe component, beautiful, to top us off at 3. Whenever you get 3 mainframe components, it allows you to combine them. Combining them gives you a mainframe expansion. These mainframe expansions have been reworked a number of times, but in this version, and probably the final version, they will provide a 5% bonus to your attribute. For now, I'm going to increase my shield damage reduction by 5%, which unfortunately gives me nothing, because it's just not too big at this time. Ooh. That's tempting. That's rather tempting. But, all right. We're gonna go ahead and sneak out of here before we explode and give ourselves a quick save. I'll explore the rest of that probably at a later point. And yeah, let's go over here to the edge, the Cedo Outer Rim.
How did you ever end up in a place like this? Originally, I was stationed in the Ethan system as part of our rear guard subunit. We did some scouting missions, but really not much else.
How many were you?
Around 12. Some died, some became outlaws. 2 pals and I got out before the war got really ugly. This is where we ended up.
Feels like the edge of the universe.
It isn't, but if you squint, you can see it from here.
I just looked over and I read a comment from 7Nindo over on Twitch, and just, man, completely nailed it, by the way. I play a ton of indie games for that very reason.
Don't know. I got this marker jumping around on my display, though.
I shouldn't say ton. I'm kind of selective. I don't have a lot of time. I have 5 kids, and I don't know if you know this, but I work for a development company that's working on a game releasing this year.
Could be it. Try to follow it and keep me posted. By the way, if you need better tech, there used to be a trader around that area. Calls her shop the Flying Duchess. Maybe worth checking out.
Excellent. So we're gonna go ahead and stop at the Flying Duchess, as well as pick up a little bit of loot on the way. Wiring kit. Once we get this second beanie online, we will go in and answer more questions that you guys may have. Actually, I want to go over here first too for one other little detail. It's nice to see something flashing over here and a little bit of debris. All of our locations are handcrafted, by the way, so if you see something that seems a little off or different in a space, it's probably because it's trying to tell you there's a secret nearby. So keep your eyes peeled. Always keep your eyes peeled. Stop over here at the Flying Duchess, examine the station, clear off the beanie, and keep on keeping it.
Oh, would you look at that? Customer or outlaw?
Customer, I guess. But can't you be both?
Not here at the Flying Duchess, you can't. I operate an honest business.
I see.
Say, you look like you could handle yourself very well in a situation. Are you up for some challenges?
Yes.
Hunting outlaws in a more creative way.
Yes.
I'll even throw in some reward for you. What do you say?
Let me take a look.
Excellent. So, key points in the game, you'll also be unlocking these little challenges. There are a lot of them, and some of them are still being worked on, okay? And you guys know this, those of you veterans out there, the Master will unlock some sort of, generally speaking, a passive effect that will last for the rest of the game. Nothing game-breaking, nothing that's like gonna transform all the game into something new. We don't want it to be that, but it just gives you a little added incentive to go after these. And it could separate some of your like really end game, highly optimized builds and make it just a little bit more depending on what you may be looking for. But most of the passive abilities are kind of more like utility oriented. For example, when we complete the Outlaw Hunt, the Flying Duchess will give us a discount at 10% for all goods and services that she supplies. All right, so let's go ahead and head to the shop here real briefly. We got that corrosion injector. You know, this Cedo signal decoder, even though it's level 1, I'm too hesitant to try something like that at this point in time. But let's see if there's anything that we might need to purchase. Here's a good example of some improvements we've done towards the transparency of information. We have this item highlighted twice. We see that for the perks, it can be supplied to both Dax Repairs and Dax Tractor Beam. Had we had more perks, it would list all of them there. You're getting all of the information on why this is tagged green, not just for one thing, but every single item. And there can be a lot of perks active at once that you're looking to satisfy. We're also gonna go ahead and sell this calibrated prime zapper. We're just gonna need better stuff. And for now, I'm just interested in selling as opposed to scrapping. Once I get the funds, I'll start scrapping at a later point in time. Maybe I do want to hang on to those EMP missiles. We're gonna hang on to them, perhaps stubbornly, I'm not sure. But regardless, I don't want to give them up just yet. 2 proto scouts. Let's see if we can lure them into a party.
Enemies in range.
Oh, that is a delight. All right, so we both got our ult and we leveled up basically at the same time. That doesn't necessarily always happen. Oh man, I want to get them over to.
Shipwreck surrounded by
There we go.
mines. I do remember a wreck. It's been a while
Come
since
on.
we had the beanies out there.
Missed. Fail whale. All right. Okay. Now, even though our devices aren't the best, they're enough. They are enough. All right. And because I don't want to embarrass myself again with another death, we are going to take it a little bit slow moving in here. Don't want to hit a mine.
Inside the wreck. At least no distractor. It's really close though. But where?
Ooh, a blueprint. That's nice. Grabbing some power cores, plugging them in. Beautiful. All these basic things from the get-go. Very subtle improvement, but an improvement nonetheless. Oh, we also need to swap this. All right. Cool, cool. All right. We'll take it. This is also a location that I want to come back and complete later, but for now...
It's infested with hydras. That could explain the weak signal.
Cleared it. Second one's up.
Excellent.
Nice. One more and the show is on.
There is another device here that we could grab as well as that escape pod. We're gonna just sneak away for now. That way we can answer some more of your questions, which are starting to stack up. I don't think there's a conversation. Oh, okay, all right.
That was Maddox's
Quick
idea.
conversation.
Said they make our indicator jump around like beanbags getting juggled.
Juggled?
Man, you obviously never had to endure shift duty. Hey, Station AI, give Adam all the data you have on juggling.
Affirmative.
Huh. Didn't know we had access to an AI.
We had it, until I just repaired it.
Cool. And, who's Maddox?
Just some moron I used to surf with. Scrap, the filter's rattling again. Talk to you soon.
All right, now that we've entered this space, we've got another signal distractor right over there to address. But first, let's address some questions. Geekbite, how's it going? What do we got?
Right, we've got a few. They're stacking up. They're stacking up nicely.
Perfect.
Shiro Nakamura over on Twitch is asking, are we going to have a New Game Plus in the future? I know this has come up before.
It is not planned. It is not planned. We have a story-centric mission chain of events, and when you get to the end game, we have all intention to make that end game an enjoyable experience to continue the hunt for better loot. So if we made it to where you then started a new game and you went through the static levels that we described, that would be kind of boring, probably. And the other swap to that is if we then designed a New Game Plus for having completed the story already, it's effectively just the end game plugged into the original game, and you're not really getting anything new. There's not any new challenges. There's not any new discoveries. It's it kind of sets you back far more than it pushes you forward. So we are intentionally leaving it to where if you want to start a new game and experience the story again, you can do so. That way you do so as intended. A new game plus that additional mode would take a bit of extra work to ensure that it's properly balanced and fun for being a new run through the game, which it would have to be in that space, that we simply can't plug in time for in our development timeline. So.
Excellent. Right, we've got a question from Ava Cam on Twitch, and Michael's given an answer for this as well.
Okay.
What are the team's 2023 development plans? Will they continue to focus on EVERSPACE 2, or will they begin work on future games? And Michael has said there will be at least one free DLC in 2023, and the creative team are already starting working on the major expansion scheduled for 2024.
That's correct. Yeah, and to just add a little bit more to that, to the Big Boss Man's response itself, this is something that we did make public prior, and we will have one free DLC. It's going to incorporate a little bit of community content, stuff that you guys were wanting, and stuff that we just want to make into the game that we don't have time for the 1.0 release. I don't know if you know this, but this is kind of a big game. It's taken a lot of time to make sure everything's been fleshed out accordingly. So regardless of that deadline, we're like, screw it, we're adding more content, free DLC for you, you're welcome. And then we, through the process of wonderful marketing and PR and beautiful happenings thereof, we have established a 2024 premium DLC that you'll be able to purchase when that time comes. And it will provide a slew of new content and new story and all the stuff that you're probably expecting from a DLC. So yeah, good stuff. Very good stuff.
Excellent. Right, Bearded Frog over on YouTube, he spotted something and he's asking, is the codex for sure dead then? It didn't seem to be there anymore where the guides and tutorial is. That's where it used to be.
The codex is definitely here. I'm sure that you've probably looked at this and be like, but there's only 4 blocks instead of 8. Yes, that's because we consolidated. It is a very effective thing in any sort of developmental progress to make sure that you're not doing too much. Because if you're doing the same thing twice, it's a waste of time. So the codex is very much something that exists there, even though I have said in a previous stream that we probably weren't going to make a codex. So that's exciting. That's fun. Yeah, through the process of simplification and just cutting to the chase of importance, that's why you're seeing it slim down. But it's very much still a codex. Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. But we haven't technically said we're making a codex for EVERSPACE 2 yet. We haven't technically said that. I want to just be clear. It's just a screen that has stuff that looks like it could possibly be that. Michael's going to slap me. All right, let's keep going. Next question.
Wizard Jerry on YouTube wants to know, speaking of secret stashes, so does now the type of equipment in all of them, are they random? Because he remembers that you found a container with a scattergun in it.
Yeah. So the items, okay, so the way that I understand it, the items do get randomized for specific containers that are auto-generated into an area. Then there are also, there's a special term for it, and I wish I could remember it. They're basically ID'd as a permanent object within the space, and the contents thereof are generally not going to change. There are specific content, for example, mainframe components. Those don't just get randomly added to the game. You have to go to specific locations to find those. There will be certain items with specific traits and modifiers that are found from certain locations like that as well. And those can also be next to stuff that is just randomly generated. So it's a mixture of both is basically what I'm saying. There's intentional loot to find, and then there's just random stuff that you can come across.
Marvelous. Right. This was quite an interesting question, quite in-depth from Ava Cam on Twitch.
Okay.
And Michael did answer this because he was the best person to do so.
Oh, of course.
Have the sales and ongoing player engagement numbers for EVERSPACE 2 met the team's expectations? Are there revenue generating options that the team has evaluated and ruled out, such as collaborations with other titles and franchises, ship skins, transactions, etc.? So Michael did give a good detailed response to this. And he says, sales are good, of course, can always be more, but we'd rather sell more copies for the full price at 1.0. Regarding microtransactions, we don't think those belong in a single-player game. We prefer selling major content packages like expansions, possibly ship skins too. Collaborations with other titles is tricky because it wouldn't fit in with our lore. Not a fan of it. And something that'll probably excite the YouTube guys a lot because they've been asking for this. We're looking into EVERSPACE merchandise, though.
Yep. Yeah, we have a lot of things that we would love to do, but joining up with another development team to incorporate like our assets to their game and their assets to ours, or like brand a thing that like slaps a logo over the side of ours. It's like Monster Energy drink. Like, I mean, that stuff can be fun. That stuff can be cool. Not saying that it's bad if you go that route. It's just not the direction we want to take the game in. We want to pursue this game in the best way that we possibly can to satisfy its vision first. That's priority number one. We're going to handle all that type of stuff, and then from that point, once everything's been satisfied, if there were any sort of whatevers to come after that point, sure, maybe, but it's still not desired. So it would have to be one heck of a freaking deal in order for us to Monster Energy drink. I only say that because we had the fan art. If you guys remember, there's the fan art of the chemical bro he supplied, and he made a Monster Energy drink interceptor. It was pretty hilarious. It was pretty fun, but not gonna happen, guys.
Excellent. Another one from Avacam on Twitch. On the topic of difficulty mode and death counts, has the team considered a hardcore mode challenge where death equals game over, with an unlocked asset associated to beating the game in that mode?
So I will say this. I definitely understand where you're coming from. I love this. I love Iron Man challenges in games myself. Like, I think it's amazing. I think it caters to a very specific type of game that is being played. I don't think EVERSPACE 2 is it. Personally, I don't think. And also, most of the team also agrees with that. We don't think that it would be the proper framing for our story-centric looter shooter to have something that can happen completely random by chance, and you're not 100% sure of why it happened in the first place as you're exploring the world, and oh, well, because of that, you just lost 13 hours of your play session because you have to start completely over, saves gone, bye-bye. That's not what we want to approach the game space in, and we're doing that regardless of if our community wants it or not. I'm going to be super transparent and blunt on this front because it's going to hurt the vast majority of our community more than it's going to benefit the 5% of the players, less than that, who actually get a thrill and are actually satisfied by that. So it will not happen. We are not doing a hardcore mode of that nature. That said, that big old ramble said, we do want to have really intense challenges in the in-game state. We have the rifts that we've already showcased that are part of that. For some people, it is like the penultimate challenge. Some people brag a lot about how it's so easy. But there's a lot more balance and a lot more changes and a lot more elements that are coming to that state, so that should you desire those crazy challenges and min-maxing your ship to extreme, to optimize and glorify all of that loot that you've spent the time to customize and optimize and bring to fruition, we want you to be able to do that as well. So there's still more in the pipe to bring that to 1.0 or after 1.0 even. So yeah, just be patient on that front. If that is alluring, awesome. If the thought of a hardcore mode that's not going to happen sucks, just please understand where we're coming from and why we do not want to do that. Okay? A good question though. Good question.
Excellent answer. Right, two more questions. Wizard Jerry on YouTube is asking, he's wondering, will the dismantle quality for the cargo unit be useful in 1.0?
We've had some internal conversations about how this might get changed. So that's about all I can say to that, honestly. Itemization as a whole, we're still evaluating some gaps there. And also just want to make some stuff a little bit more fun. For example, even though I don't have the modifier on this missile, let's just pretend that it auto-fired. You guys know the auto-firing sort of modifier. If you get a critical hit, there's a % chance that you fire a free missile so long as it's active on your ship. We had to go in there and say, oh, that percentage of power that it's reduced by, the damage percentage, we are now also reducing the utility of certain missiles, like this EMP missile, for example, by that percentage as well. So it says the effect duration on this particular missile is 5.14 seconds. That would also be scaled back to, was it 30%, I think? It would only be 30% of that. Maybe I'm remembering the numbers wrong, but you get the picture. So we are adjusting elements, a number of elements for the itemization on that front. And yeah, dismantling quality is definitely something we'll be looking into further.
Excellent. Right, last question for now is
Perfect.
from Twitch, and will change my name later.
Okay.
He's asking, as you know, all games with greater than light speed travel have their own name for it, it seems. How did you settle with supralight?
That would be a question for Uva. I don't rightly know. It was probably internally questioned. The team was just like, oh, you know what? It's really super fast. It's like super light. It could be that basic. It could legitimately be that basic. Or it could have been like this revelation, like nobody could figure out. It took us 4 months, just constant debates. No, that's not it. But still, it's generally speaking, whenever we have a naming convention, any naming convention in the game, we have internal polls, we have suggestions, we have referential points of other games and real life situations and whatever to find something that makes sense contextually and also functionally, like within the game space. For example, mainframe components went through a number of changes for their namesake because they were a little in conflict with a number of other elements that we were designing at the time, namely signal decoders. If I recall correctly, the mainframe component was something along the lines of it's like a something decoder. Oh gosh, I can't remember the name now, but it was conflicting. And so it was a little hard to understand what it was going to be used for. By changing it to a mainframe component, you know that it is a component of a mainframe that you need multiple of to create a mainframe expansion. Just a simple, it really does come down to just that simple ability to comprehend what those items are, what the naming convention surrounds, and Superlight is no different. We didn't need it to be something fantastical or crazy or wild. We just want to give it the context that it deserves, so you know you're going really super freaking fast. And there you go. Woo! Lots of context there. Oh, and then Michael pops in. He says, in fact, it was me suggesting the name Superlight to have something other than FTL, like in any other space game. Yeah, we just wanted to separate out a little bit further, and Superlight fits. So, well played, Michael. Congratulations. You have won.
Michael did update a little question earlier that was going on in YouTube that I thought we would just touch on. Regarding the free DLC, that is actually scheduled for the second half of 2023, but the content is still to be determined.
All right. Nice. I don't know if we've actually said that publicly, so that's everyone write it down. Write it down.
He has now.
Write it down. Cool. All right. So that was the last one that we had for now, right? Yes?
You're free to fly on.
Awesome. Very good. So I'm going to go ahead and finish up this mission so we can progress into the next bits. We do have some level 3s here. I'm hopeful that we're not going to be bad. Oh. Okay. It was enough. A calibrated pulse laser and a cargo unit? Okay, all right. We really need some better thrusters than an energy core, honestly. Energy core at the start is a pretty significant boon. But we're gonna satisfy this. I look over and I just see ludicrous fast, just Somebody was making a reference to Spaceballs earlier in the stream.
And its power core fell off. I'll plug it back in.
No, keep your distance. Don't go in until you're ready to take some damage.
You guys know that we had a Spaceballs reference in Everspace 1, right? For those of you who missed it, in Everspace 1 hardcore mode, okay, we're already getting into like the niche of the niche, but still. In the hardcore mode, one of the handicaps, it makes it to where when you pause, when you go into your inventory, the game's still running in the background. And you can kind of see it too in Everspace 1. That handicap is called We Break for Nobody, which is a direct reference to the bumper sticker on the back of Spaceball 1. All right. Excellent. Excellent. Let's drop some scrubs.
It's an ambush. You got this. Ah!
Yeah.
Beautiful.
How did you know it was a trap?
It's called scavenger baiting. Outlaws do that a lot. Besides, beanbags don't run on power cores. So, removing the debris should be enough.
Done. All beanbags are back online.
You can see that. Our base marker is now everywhere but here. You can come back to base now. I found something that can make life a lot easier for you.
All right. So let's go ahead and head back to base because I actually really need what he's talking about. I haven't found any armor yet. Woo! That kind of stinks. That will help our survivability a bit more.
Good. Make a cross search on Maddox and Dax. They don't know their last names.
Found multiple mentions in the Ethon mutiny. Second Lieutenant Dexter Dax Bashar is facing murder and desertion charges after the death of First Lieutenant Gabart Voigt. It is believed he was assisted and is still accompanied by Lieutenant Henley Maddox. Transferring full entry to pilot log.
A mutiny, huh?
Excellent. I see somebody just popped into the stream and said, love your game. Andra Zanuck. Well, thank you so much for your appreciation. Stick around, stay a while. If you have questions, ask. We love these little community live streams because they are cultivated for you. That's right, for you. Exactly for you. So if there's ever been something that you've been curious about and wanted to know more, yeah, feel free to ask. Maybe we can supply some information. We're a very transparent development team. We want you guys to have all the deets so that we have a very solid expectation of what we're working on so you're not sidelined or upset by something you didn't see coming.
Check this out. While going through some old junk, I found some protective plating for your ship. Might give you an edge in an upcoming fight. I put it in our storage.
Thanks, Dax. Oh, storage. Storage is this one. All right.
Fitz?
Excellent.
Dax? Who was Gabbard Voigt?
Oh. I thought we changed that timing. Whoops, sorry.
Voigt?
I wondered how long it'd take for you to look me up.
They say it was a mutiny, that you killed your superior officer.
I didn't kill him, but I didn't stop it from happening either. That war, the things we all did, it wasn't right. My friends and I, we had a plan to get out and make it all mean something. But Voigt was hell-bent on stopping us.
And there I was thinking plans were for fools.
Never said I wasn't one myself. Look, I know how hard it can be to trust someone. Maybe you'll find it easier if we focus on fixing up your friend and see where it goes from there.
It's really all I'm asking.
Alright, let's start by having you head over to the Union Bridge Station and buy something called a Prime Sense STA. That's an old but untrackable scanner module. With it, we can finally see the entire system without the fleet seeing us back.
And then?
We use the scanner to look for a medical station. We loot the place, beef up our med bay, and let the medical AI patch up your friend.
What if there are no medical stations around?
Cedo isn't that small. We're bound to come across something.
I was hoping for something more solid. Well, alright. What's the name of that scanner? Prime Sense STA?
Correct. Have some faith, and I promise it'll be worth your while.
Wonderful. All right. I think that this is a good point where we can transition into something a little bit more fun to kind of look at. As you guys know, we've been talking a lot about these updates, these changes. You know, we've had a number of them since the start of early access, and some of you guys have caught a lot of those details and some of you missed them. So what I wanted to do is show you some of the detail work that we've actually been doing behind the scenes, whether you have caught it or not. Most of these are actually in the build that you currently have access to. This is just a fun little reference point, at least I hope. I also need to make sure that the game is... Actually, we'll just save the game for now. New stream, or 2023 stream save, 2023 stream save. Man, wouldn't it be nice to be able to save a game by typing into it? That would be pretty dope, wouldn't it? All right, let's go ahead and head back into this right here. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna knock the game out, and we're gonna load up some cool little comparisons for you all. I think you will enjoy them. So give me just 1 second to iron out the details of making this work. In the meantime, check out our socials. There's lots of different places that we operate. And I would say the most prevalent ones are probably gonna be the Discord. We have a lot of conversations in there, a lot of little contests and challenges and fun times, a lot of questions. You know, it can be pretty crazy and a lot of fun. And if you desire to follow up with any sort of chats that maybe were missed or otherwise, definitely swing on in there. I can assure you it's a pretty good time. We have a solid group of people. They don't get too crazy. At times, you know, if they do, that's why you call on us to moderate. But there's a number of locations. We're also on Reddit. We're also on YouTube, obviously. We're also on Twitch, on Twitter, of course, Instagram, lots of places. All right. So I wanted to get into this, and what this is, these are comparisons of asset adjustments that we've been doing, both for the sake of just a better visualization, but also for optimization. That's right, as we go through and we polish these assets, it's not just a matter of, oh, well, we didn't like it before. It's actually helping the game be in a more playable state so that you're not tanking frames. So here, we have a comparison of the old Zerulia base to the new one. Just a very, very simple adjustment. Cleans up these assets so they're a bit more identifiable, and also makes the game truly run a little bit smoother. Rather beneficial all around. Here's another scene. You guys are probably familiar with these old assets. These were updated, I think, in the last one, where we went from these sort of this wildlife, this biology on the plants, to getting a bit more ambience, detail work, and more, even though it's simplified these assets, streamlining your gaming possibility. And we've done this to a number of assets across the board, even like this one, where, wow, like that's kind of nuts how much that's actually changed. Like entirely new assets that had a similar structure, but then it's just completely new. Lots of this going on in the game. And, you know, I'm not gonna show you guys a tremendous number of these, but I think it's important to note that this process of early access, like it's never been something where we wanted to just deliver an episodic release of the game. We never wanted to have it where it's like, oh, chapter 1, you get this story, and then chapter 2, you get that story. That's just not how we function. We function by making the full freaking game, and every update adds so much more to the whole of the game, not just those added chapters, that added story. And I hope that you can see through these asset modifications just how much I mean by that. It's not just a simple matter of, oh, we put a side mission in that you can now enjoy. Like every update, and why we've been pushing the idea of starting a new save. Here, let me do that one again because it jittered around. When you start a new save, it's so that you can experience the game as it's intended from that update. Because it's not just a continuation of where you left off from the prior update. Just from a visual side, you know, you can see quite a lot going on here. Just from a visual side. And that's not even scratching the surface of balance And oh gosh, just so much other. I mean, all I have to say is balance, really, right? That's all I have to say. Like, look at this. That's a healthy change. That is not a small asset in the game, right? All right, here's another one. I think this one's a really telling one too. Through the process of building up the game, you can also see that we did clean up the way certain assets looked as well, because, you know, we do have this dark and dusty sort of space throughout the DMZ, but we also want to take great care and show off some pretty cool structures. This is an example of it being a little too dirty for our taste, so we did clean it up. We ironed out some of those hard edges and incorporated a little bit more of an organic structure. And there's lots of this. Here's the other side as well. Seeing that change? Whew, that will make you dizzy. Lots of these adjustments all around. And it doesn't just end on, like, you know, the smaller stuff or, you know, whatever. Like, these are pretty massive changes. Like, look at that. You can really see, like, the grit of the first one being replaced in this particular asset, because this particular asset shouldn't have that grit. Now, there are definitely other ones that do, but we did have to refine and condense, especially according to how the story progresses and how the lore is meant to be brought into the fold for all of these elements. We have to ensure that the stylization that we're approaching fits the narrative and the gameplay experience. Here's another one where you're seeing that more gritty look on the outside that then gets replaced with a little bit more polish, but a lot more detail work that magically, I suppose, optimizes the game, making it easier to render. Whew. Oh, and you know, I just casually look over and I do see a really prominent response from "We'll change my name later." And I will read part of this because it is important to note. You know, a lot of you guys going through early access, you were making points and references saying like, oh, it would have been so cool if this looked like that, or that looked like this other thing, or there was more variety and blah, blah, blah. Well, yes, and would absolutely be that, because a lot of the optimization passes that occur in development happen at the end. They happen at the end. And that is to ensure that you're not retouching stuff that's been created into the game multiple times, because that's a waste of time. Imagine if we supplied our first update and then the next update was an update pass to incorporate that update into the original game. And then the update after that was the next update, and then we had an update pass on that one to incorporate all those assets into the fold of the fold. Like, that would be, wow, no. And considering that we had your support through a Kickstarter, I don't think that you would appreciate our funds to be spent so unprofessionally. So here's another one that I think is really telling of how the game's been coming along too. But most of these assets, I'm not sure if all of them, but most of these assets are live in your build, but there are still a lot more coming. Because we're in that home stretch for 1.0, and a lot of the polishing passes and performance passes are occurring almost now. Some of them are actually happening soon and a little bit later even. But yeah, there's a lot of that's happening on this leg of the course. All right, here's another one. I'm a big fan of this one. This I like to describe this image. This almost looks like a you guys remember when StarCraft 2 launched? You guys remember StarCraft 2 launched? And it kind of looked cartoony. It looked too cartoony. And then they like went back into the game and they're like, okay, we fixed it. That's what this reminds me of. Where are my StarCraft 2 players? Oh my gosh. You know what I'm talking about. The Terran buildings. It was like, oh my gosh. They look like little children's play toys, and then boom, they came back with the balancing pass. Oh my gosh. So, oh man. All right, let's move into some more. Yeah, here's another one of that, different angle. Very much so. Awesome. This is what it is now. You can see we really want to bring home that very futuristic sci-fi and strengthened structural concept to life here instead of having it just a little too, I don't want to say flimsy, but it feels a bit more delicate. Doesn't seem as sturdy. And the colors are a little too bold. All around how we are bropping them in. And here's one that I believe is actually live, but you have the GMB here where we've got the structures on the Nephtes plane side, and then we've just added so much more textural quality. I should really have a sit-down conversation with Marco sometime, because I really want to understand how by adding more visuals into the game, it's less work for the PC to handle. I want to know why that is. And there's specific terminology associated. Some of you out there are probably like, oh, I know why. You could explain it to me. That's great. But we're doing that process. That's what we've been going through and making sure these polishing patches do for a number of these assets. Here's another look at this big old space ball. Oh my gosh. And seeing where it goes from this more dusty, diminished sort of thing with less refined lines to bam, look at that. So much more quality approaching that structure. Very good, very good. I think this is the last one. So we got this, this one's very, well, I say simple, but there's so much work that goes into these. This one's more of like the outlaw main hub, that home base sort of structure. That's, you know, boom, gets so much more detail. It's naked at this point, right? Just that slim, sleek look, and it was a little too much. For outlaw bases, pertaining to the lore, most, not all, but most outlaw bases are previously colonial establishments during the war, okay? So outlaws take them over and revamp them, they customize them, and they squat in them, and they, you know, call them home because they want to exist outside the law, obviously. Now, colonial authorities, as well as the militarization of the DMZ, have all been like removed right through the trees, which is why all these bases have just been left to dust, and also why there happens to be a lot of military assets going around. Just kind of a product of what has occurred since these events. Very, very good stuff. I have been seeing a couple of questions being poked around, and now that we're through, that's the last one, that's the last image here. I want to answer some of those questions, and I'm just gonna start from the beginning and go back through again. Oh my gosh, so much. I actually showed you guys a lot more than I thought I was going to. So yeah, let's go ahead and answer some of those questions. Geekbyte, if you want to chime in here and start answering, I'm just gonna like slowly go through these so you can see those comparisons one more time.
No worries. We have a couple. First off is from Excelsior on YouTube. And he's asking, are you remastering those assets in-house, or are you handing them over to external partners like Volta or Streamline Studios? Okay. Michael did actually jump in on this one as well. Yep. Polishing assets happens in-house and through an external artist. Volta has been helping on adding details to concept art and with the official key art for the version 1.0 release. Absolutely. It's actually been a pleasure of mine to see some of my coworkers dive into this and just revitalize the look of certain assets. But yeah, we do a little bit of work with others who come in, they swoop in, and they help us out too. Because, you know, we're a small team and we have a lot of topics and a lot of systems that we need to address before that 1.0 release, because we ain't gonna miss any of the promises that we made. And there's still, frankly speaking, there's a lot that we want to do and a lot that we want to accomplish. So getting just a little bit of outside helps so much. That outside help helps so much. And yeah, so what you're seeing here is kind of a combination of actually, Michael, I would say most of the stuff I'm showing here is actually outside help, isn't it? Some of this stuff I know we did internally, but regardless, the point is that we both go through ourselves internally because we want to, you know, play the most hands into this as possible, but we do, you know, call on assistance in order to get things where they need to go so our focus and our deadlines can be made accordingly. All right. Very good question. We've got a question from Junior Panciotti over on YouTube. And again, Michael's answered it. He's on fire tonight. He's on fire.
Okay.
Will the settings be wiped when the saved games are wiped? Will settings need to be reset? And Michael's just chimed in with saying the .ini settings file should not be overwritten in 1.0.
Okay, that's what Michael said. Then that's what we're going with. I know that we don't want to wipe anything like that. The big takeaway from it, of course, is that the save games are going to be removed. And when I say removed, I'm not just meaning they just vanish, so if you stored them somewhere else, you could just pull them back over and they work. No, the functionality of those saves will be removed. Should you find a way to play an old save into the new finalized game, it's going to lead to errors that we will not fix, because that is not how the game is meant to be played. Not from using the old flags, the old assets, the old systems, the old settings, the old missions, the old whatevers. That's going to bring in a number of troubles that we're not going to deal with. And wiping that away to start a fresh new save so you can experience everything the game has to offer in the way that it's intended is absolutely, without a doubt, what we are doing, and it's not going to change. So please keep that in mind. For those of you who are like, no, my save game, I can't, this sucks, it's so dumb. You know what? You are fair and free to have that opinion, but I truly hope that you do understand and respect our decision to make that wipe for the full, true experience that is the 1.0 release from the get-go, from scratch, starting anew. Because that's how we look at it, and that's what we're doing.
Excellent. Neela Nova on YouTube has asked, will wacky weapons like the ones Throng sold make a return?
That would be telling. I love your curiosity. There are more legendaries coming. Did I say too much? Let's keep going. Next question.
I haven't got any more questions, but hopefully somebody will come up with something so we can move on quickly. Think of anything.
Oh, that's great. It's possible, right? Like to answer the question, it's certainly possible. Though I actually want to make this, because now everybody's like, oh, he just confirmed it. No, I really didn't. Maybe. But also note that we take the designs of the itemization incredibly seriously. Okay? Everything that we're bringing into the forefront of this game, we want it to have a very strong element associated with the lore within this universe. That does mean there can be some wonky, weird, and wild jury-rigged products and strange happenings, right? Like, that's definitely something within the realm of possibility, for sure. But if you're expecting to have a flat cannon that shoots watermelons and explodes in confetti, making fart sounds, you're going a little too hard, okay? That's not what we want to do. That is beyond where our vision lies. Should we reach a point that could establish mod support, fingers crossed, because again, we do desire that. It's just not a priority, and it's not something we are working on. If we could get into that territory, then you can do whatever the crap you want. But from a standpoint of what our vision looks like and how we're approaching it, it's far more on the serious side of associating components with the lore, associating components with this world that we've created to bring it all together. Whew.
Excellent. I think I might have to ask for a refund because I'm not happy that we're not getting a farting confetti cannon gun. You know, it's just...
Oh man! Woo! All right.
I've got nothing else at the moment.
Right,
we're waiting for more.
That's great. Yeah, no, I'm just gonna cycle between these for a little bit more. You know, we can chat a little bit more. We have 10 minutes left in the stream. I could pick up the game again and kind of go through it a little bit, since you guys have technically seen all of these. I'm seeing some questions kind of come in here. Jack Jackalope over on YouTube. Will the ship limit be increased? I'm assuming you're referring to the number of ships that you can store in the home base. Don't think it's planned at this time, but because there's definitely going to be more ship variety by full release, I'm not going to say that it's not possible. I know internally we also have a number of team members who are like, that would be nice. It's going to be something we have to feel out. It's going to have to be something we feel out. We don't want you to be able to store 50 different ships, for example, because I think that starts getting to a territory of overwhelming yourself, especially like if you leave the game for a while and you come back and you're like, where the crap do I start? Like we don't want to have that occurring. But you know, customization and flying your own ship is important, otherwise we wouldn't have the module ship components at all. And I'm confident we will find a pretty good balance on that front. So I'm confident. Except for those who want to have 50 ships, because that's not going to happen. So.
Yeah. Super Scrapper has asked a question on Twitch. Has there been any thought on being able to customize what mods a specific weapon has? For example, I had one that would temporarily shut down shields, and that's something I missed later in the game. It was super helpful.
Yeah, so that has also been a point of internal discussion. So it is no secret that we have taken inspiration from the likes of other looter shooters, such as Destiny, Diablo. I mean, honestly, the list goes on. The list goes on. And I mean, I think that it's, you know, not uncommon within other games of this nature, these looter-style centric games, to have a means to adjust and to tweak certain items even further beyond just what its rarity is or what its level is, which we currently have in the game. So yeah, we've definitely had conversations about what it would look like if we were to go in those added directions. I can't guarantee that we will go super heavy into that, because there's kind of this price that you pay when you have a level of customization in games that affects the end game of that nature, and it starts producing less enjoyment of the hunt for loot and more of a chore-like grind for the components or the parts that you need. And that is something we would very much like to avoid if it is within our power to do so. So we'll see how things develop and what happens in the future, but do know that there will still be a couple more tweaks and modifications to crafting and legendary stuffs and stuff of that nature. So yeah, fingers crossed for you, I guess. So good questions. I like it.
One sneaky little question has just come in from Gilles Mercier on YouTube. Right. What will the max ship tier be in 1.0?
I believe it's going to be 4 plus, I suppose, which was advertised on the Kickstarter. Like that's what we wanted to accomplish, and that's still what we're aiming to do. I suppose you could say as the bare minimum, but it's a freaking ton of work adding that many tiers with all the different modules and the passives and the everythings. But yeah, I mean, we'll have more to show on that front in the future. Most of that is going to be reserved for 1.0 itself, though. I also see a question right after that one from Slorine Petson on how will transmog work here exactly? Will I be able to make my Vanguard look like a bomber, but still handle like a Vanguard? No, that is not in the plans. So Slorine, what we want to do, what we're aiming to do with the transmog system is allow you to take a ship and modify it according to the assets within that class, okay? And I imagine a lot of you guys are gonna be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. And that's how we would honestly like to approach that, and we're hoping that we get to that and incorporate it in that setting. And through those transmogs, we're also considering the options, you know, like to have a tier 1 wing, even though you're flying tier 4 with those all those spruced up powers and whatnot. So, but we'll have more to talk about and more to show again on those levels, those aesthetics, especially within like the transmog system that is still planned for 1.0, and everything that surrounds, because it's a lot, and we don't want it to go crazy to where it's not conducive to the proper results. Ships have different hitboxes, for example. So, yeah. Cool. I also see another question over on Twitch, and I like this question from Will Change My Name Later. Will the DLC forward the story, or will they be independent stories with their own story? I love that. And Michael does respond in kind. This also goes to some previous conversations I've said about a full game versus an incomplete one at a 1.0 launch. So this is kind of fun. Very specifically, they will be independent stories connected to the campaign. So what that means is that it is not necessarily like this, like you don't get the full experience at 1.0, because you will. The DLC adds to that. It gives you more. But if you only buy the 1.0 full release, you're not technically missing the main key points and the prominent elements of the story, of the character developments, all of that type of stuff. You can also look towards EVERSPACE 1's DLC as kind of a reference point to that, in fact. If you've played EVERSPACE 1 without the DLC, you're missing a number of prominent characters that encourage you to accomplish new tasks, gain new abilities, and gives you more assortments of goods that you can progress through that roguelike loop with. But if you don't encounter those characters at all and just play base EVERSPACE 1, first off, you're missing out. But second, like, it's still the full game experience. You're still getting all of that main story of what's transpiring. You're still getting most of that. You're getting all of it. You're getting all of that story. You're getting everything you need to know about the events of EVERSPACE 1. EVERSPACE 1's DLC Encounters expansion just adds so much more to bring it into this beautiful state of replayability and enjoyment. That's honestly what that accomplishes. So, there we go. A lot of detail on that one. Okay, guys, what time is it? We got about 3 minutes left. I can maybe answer like one or two more questions here.
Yeah.
We got one?
Yeah, Excelsior's asked, would you consider adding engine, muzzle, and cockpit part tiers at some point in the future?
I don't think that's in the plans. I think that the exterior weapon customization is not really an element we want to pursue. Most of the equipment is going to look like the way it does, and we want them to be distinct from one another. Like a beam laser doesn't look like a pulse laser, for example. But customizing its visual on the posterior of your ship hasn't really been a focal point. We want stuff that makes a pretty strong impact, like the ship modules, for example. And even to a degree, you could argue, like, potentially the cockpit as well. I think it's important to note that you could have different cockpit styles that you see those differences from the outside based on your screenshots and whatnot. So that's an important sort of reference point. I did talk earlier in the stream that it's not guaranteed that we will have that level of cockpit customization. So I don't want to like hype you guys up too much and create an expectation where, oh, we're getting this massive customization cockpit. Because no, I'm not saying that. I want to make sure that's clear. But we do look at these elements of customization from that standpoint, if it makes a big impact. And the weapons, the weapons themselves attached to the ship, customizing those, we just don't feel is the impact that the game really needs from that level. It's a lot of time, a lot of work to plug that in for a very little effect. So much greater focus on something like the ship modules. So good stuff.
Last question, which we might just be able to sneak in,
Sure.
From Nilo Nova. Shall there be more colors, texture styles beside metallic and normal for the paint jobs?
That is something that I would love personally. I know it's something we've talked about. Apparently, the customization on that front needs to go through a lot of passes for approvals, and it also, unfortunately, if it were to go through that, which takes time, of course, would pull key team members off of priority elements required for the 1.0 release. Can you tell that I have played a part in trying to get more colors and textures? It's quite the process, unfortunately, because I do think that we could benefit from, a bit more on that. And with every single edition, it creates so much more. but it comes down to our development timeline. It comes down to the focal points and the requirements that we've got to hit. And as it stands, and you guys know this, aesthetics, that level and degree of customization, that's all on a lower tier than missions, than itemization, than character progression and story. Like, it's just not at that same level. So here's hoping that in the future we can do more with the customization, be it from a free DLC or a premium one, to add a little bit more flavor on that field. But as of right now, I would not expect too much more to come on the field of ship textures and colors in particular. So, cool. All right, guys, that is going to, in fact, conclude our stream. I don't know about you, but I had a wildly good time being able to chat with all of you. It's been so good being back for the new year. You have asked solid questions. Oh my gosh. And it's great. It feels good to be revisiting the game in a brand new state, being able to tease new stuff that's added along the way. And oh my gosh, I'm just excited to continue this and pursue into new territories for you, both as eye candy and also just as information, because at the end of the day, we do these streams for you to make sure that the expectations are realized. What you desire, what we desire, have that strong way to bridge that gap between developer and community. This home stretch is coming in hard, and oh my gosh, do we have some cool stuff ahead of you. So, whoo, you guys have been super freaking awesome, and I have been super freaking Eric Schrader, your community ambassador for Rockfish Games. Geekbyte, thank you again for diving in, helping moderate and gather all those questions. It's always a pleasure. Guys, don't stop being awesome, and we will catch you in the next stream, scheduled for next week at the same time, same channel, all that good stuff. Toodles! Guys, I can't find my sunglasses. I lost them. Oh, I found them. Oh my goodness. New year, I need to clean my desk. Whoop. All right, here we are. Here we are. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the post-stream events where I look like a fool and you guys somehow love it. Thank you all again for being here. Kicking off the new stream, seriously, new year. It's going to be such a freaking awesome wild ride. And I'm super pumped that you are along the ride with us. So if you guys don't know, EVERSPACE is in fact, EVERSPACE 2 is in fact going to go up in price when it launches the first half of this year. That's right. That is a soon time frame because we're technically in the first half of this year. Are we releasing tomorrow? Is that what we're revealing? No, that's too eager. But know that the price point is going up. So if you are really tight on money, okay, and you still want to support us, which we totally understand, you can obviously use your voice and tell more people about us, but you can also wish list us on Steam and wait for a sale, all right? Because when you see that sale, it's going to be the cheapest you can possibly get the game, because you're going to have that percentage off of that lesser premium price point, because when we hit, again, 1.0 this year, the first half, it's going to go up, okay? So don't say I didn't warn you. I'm trying to help you out here. If that's the way that you want to support, awesome. So just know that. Otherwise, we'd also totally love the sport of buying the game at full price, you know? Don't let that stop you. So, you guys, I think Bearded Frog's really excited. You all want this, and I'm gonna do this. So Those of you who don't mind really terrible beatboxing, feel free to say. And if you think that this point is cringe, have a good one. Thank you so much and enjoy your weekend. All right, what am I doing? How am I going to do this? I'll just start. We'll figure it out. My throat's gonna die, but you're welcome. Oh, that's fun. That's fun for me. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Yeah, I gotta get out. Oh my gosh, stream's totally over. Guys, seriously, you're wonderful. I love you so much. You are great. Join us in the Discord. Let's have some fun. Oh, crud. Geekbot, I forgot to do something. It's fine. It's fine. We'll schedule it for next time. It's fine. Now everyone's gonna be like, wait, what? What's he talking about? You can't leave us like this. Oh no. Oh goodness. Enjoy your weekend. We'll have some fun next week, I promise. Let's go raid Corbin over on Twitch.